Vale, voy a empezar a regalar cosas y lo primero es el grimorio negro, que pone a Morrigan le encantará echarle un vistazo. Así que vamos a ver.
What? You found Flemeth's grimoire? Ever since we discovered the condition of the Mage's Tower, I had wondered if it might be recoverable, but I had yet to speak of it to you. How fortunate that you found it on your own. You have my thanks. I will begin study of the tome immediately.
Que ni tan siquiera merezco un beso.
I suppose something is deserved for all your efforts, is it not?
Dale, dale.
I do not intend to squander this opportunity to learn more than Flemeth wished me to know. This should be interesting.
Sí. Una aptitud Morrigan. Sí. Habilidad adquirida. Magia menor. Inspirado tú le dará este miembro al copo. Adquiere una pequeña bonificación a la magia. Sí. ¿Cuánto afecto tenemos con Morrigan? 25. Bien, bien, bien. Lo estamos haciendo bien. Bueno, vamos a ver qué encontrado Morrigan en el grimorio.
I have been studying Mother's grimoire. Do you wish to hear what I have found?
¿Qué has descubierto?
'Tis not what I expected. I had hoped for a collection of her spells, a map of the power that she commands. But this is not it.
Y sin embargo pareces alterado.
Disturbed? Yes, perhaps that is the right word. One thing in particular within her writings disturbs me. Here, in great detail, Flemeth explains the means by which she has survived for centuries.
Un hechizo de la inmortalidad.
Oh, if only 'twere so. Flemeth has raised many daughters over her long lifetime. There are stories of these many witches of the wilds throughout chastened legend, yet I have never seen a one, and always wondered why not. And now I know. They are all Flemeth. When her body becomes old and wizened, she raises a daughter, and when the time is right, she takes her daughter's body for her own.
No estoy muy seguro de entender lo que quieres decir.
Once, Flemeth was a mage. This was before the time of the Circle of Magi, but she wielded magical power of the same sort that all the ancient shamans did. 'Twas no different. She summoned a demon and made it part of her, and became an abomination, one that has thrived. Whether Flemeth has always been the demon, or mastered it, or they are one, I truly do not know. No matter what she is, her body still ages and will not sustain her forever, so she must find new bodies. I am to be the next new body in a very long line.
Entonces, ¿por qué corrió el riesgo de enviarte conmigo?
I do not know. Perhaps 'tis as she said. The Darkspawn threaten her as much as they threaten anyone else. Or perhaps she believes that this journey will make me more powerful. According to the tome, if the host is already powerful and trained in magic, it takes far less time for Flemeth to settle in. ¿Estás segura de esto? Indeed. That is primarily what this tome details. The various daughters that Flemeth has acquired. Their preparation and training. I recognize all of it. I am to be her next host. This is my purpose.
¿Y qué pretendes hacer ahora?
There is only one possible response to this. Flemeth needs to die. I will not sit about like an empty sack waiting to be filled. Flemeth must be slain, and I need your help to do it.
¿Matar a Flemeth? ¿No sería mejor que hablaras con ella?
And what would that do? At best, I would receive pointless reassurances. At worst, Flemeth would imprison me once she became aware I know what I do. I know my mother well enough to be confident she would show no mercy when it came to her own survival. I must do the same.
Matar a Flemeth no parece un poco
May
excesivo.
seem so. If you think of Flemeth as a mother, think of her instead as an ancient abomination that intends to use her own flesh and blood to extend her life beyond all natural limits. She did not wish anyone to get a hold of this information, least of all me. Now I have. If I do not act on what I know, then more the fool am I.
¿Por qué necesitas mi ayuda?
Because if she is slain while I am near, I am not certain that she will not simply be able to take possession of me right there. So obviously I cannot be the one to do it.
Muy bien, si puedo, te ayudaré.
Then what needs to be done is for you to go back to Flemeth's hut in the Kakari Wilds without me. Confront her and slay her quickly. I doubt she will truly be dead even then, but it will take her years to find a new host and recover her power, if that is even possible. The thing I must have is her true grimoire. With it, I can defend against her power in the future. Everything else in her hut is yours.
Hay una fecha límite para
Not
hacerlo.
really, but the sooner the better, no?
Veré lo que pasa.
I am grateful. The sooner this can be done, the sooner it will set my mind at ease.
Pero si había adquirido la habilidad. No, sí. Bueno,
Yes?
me gustaría preguntarte algo.
Full of questions, are you?
No importa. A ver,
Yes? We are in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any.
¿le das un beso?
Ah, such a romantic, I see.
No sé, estoy intentando a ver si subo opinión con esta o yo qué sé o algo.
Yes?
Parece que no.
We are in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any. Discuss away.
Nada, olvida que he empezado yo. Solo podemos hablar para ponerle fin, no para ñiqui ñiqui. Tenemos aquí al
The
emisario.
Circle of Magi stands ready to assist, Grey Warden, as do the Templars of the Chantry.
¿Necesitáis
There
algo?
are always areas to improve on, Grey Warden. The most useful for my talents are runes.
No me quiero ir. De momento.
Your dog is filthy. I can smell him 50 yards off.
Estoy seguro de que estás
That
exagerando.
may be so, but all the same, I would like your permission to bathe him.
Adelante, está empezando a apestar, sí. Ah, venga.
Excellent. I will get my soaps, and the dog shall have his bath after supper.
Habré bajado opinión. Mata engendros. Ah, tengo armadura para matar engendros. Más 30 de resistencia física. Pero a ver cómo es. Blanco. Y este, penetración de armadura y armadura natural. Penetración de armadura 1,5 y armadura natural 6. Pues este. Y este no sé qué será mejor, resistencia física o daño. Vamos a darle unos regalicos, o no. No sé, por darle algo. Acariciar. Bien. Perrico. Bueno, parece que solo le podemos acariciar de momento. Ah, qué feo eres, cabrón. Y qué mal me caes. Vamos a hablar con la lista.
Something on your mind? Of course.
Ahora le preguntaré. Antes voy a vender unas cuantas cosas, mejor. Hay que prepararse para la próxima misión. Y venderé y ahora estamos... Y ahora congeniamos un poquillo aquí con los del campamento. Así que hasta ahora.
Something on your mind? Of course. Never what? Had a good pair of shoes? I'm not sure I do. Have I never seen a basilisk? Ate jellied ham? Have I never licked a lamppost in winter? Make fun of my comrade in arms? Perish the thought. Well, you tell me. Have you ever licked a lamppost in winter? Good. I hear it's quite painful. I remember one of the younger initiates did it on a dare once, and there was pointing and laughing. Oh, the humanity. I myself have also never done it. That. Not that I haven't thought about it, of course, but you know. Well, living in the Chantry is not exactly a life for rambunctious boys. They raised me to be a gentleman. That's not so bad, is it? I've no urge to rush into anything. We may not even survive what is to come, after all. Enough. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Let's go. Something on your mind? Of course. You mean other than becoming a Grey Warden? You know, I asked Duncan this too, and all I got was, "You'll see." Oh, it's not that Duncan wants to keep it a secret, it's just that the Grey Wardens don't discuss it much. I gather it's not a pleasant topic. The first change I noticed was an increase in appetite. I used to get up in the middle of the night and raid the castle larder. I thought I was starving. I'd slurp down every dinner like it was my last. My face all covered in gravy. When I'd look up, the other Grey Wardens would stare, then laugh themselves to tears. Really? I saw you eating dinner the other day. Savage. Ah yes, the classy camaraderie of two men travelling out in the open. I take it you were like this before the joining, then. Oh, and then there were the nightmares. Duncan said it was part of how we sense the Darkspawn. We tap into their, well, I don't know what you call it, their group mind. And when we sleep, it's even worse. You learn to block it out after a while, but at first it's hard. It's supposed to be worse for those who join during a blight. How is it for you? Some people never have much trouble, but that's rare. Others have trouble sleeping their entire life. They're just more sensitive, I suppose. Everyone ends up the same, though. Once you reach a certain age, the real nightmares come. That's how a Grey Warden knows his time has come. Oh, that's right. We never had time to tell you that part, did we? Well, in addition to all the other wonderful things about being a Grey Warden, you don't need to worry about dying from old age. You've got 30 years to live, give or take. The taint, it's a death sentence. Ultimately, your body won't be able to take it. When the time comes, most Grey Wardens go to Orzammar and die in battle rather than waiting. It's tradition. You'll always find Darkspawn down where the dwarves are. The oldest Grey Wardens head to the deep roads for one last glorious battle. Not that there's a shortage of Darkspawn during a blight, but that's the tradition. The dwarves respect us for it. And you wondered why we kept the joining a secret from the new recruits. Well, there you have it. You know, Duncan, he started having the nightmares again. He told me that in private. He said it wouldn't be long before he'd go to Orzammar himself. I guess he got what he wanted. I just wish it had been something worthy of him. I know. Ending the blight should make this all worthwhile, right? Something on your mind? Of course. Such as they are. About the Grey Wardens, anyhow. Fair enough. Something on your mind? Of course. I didn't know them for very long, but I guess it was longer than you. You never met them all, did you? They were quite a group. Actually, they felt like an extended family, since we were all cut off from our former lives. We also laughed more than you'd think. There was this one time... Well, you probably don't want to hear stories about men you didn't know. There was one Grey Warden who came all the way from the Anderfells. What was his name? It was Gregor... He was a burly man with the biggest, fuzziest beard you've ever seen. And the man could drink. He drank all the time, but he never got drunk. Finally, we all made a pool to see just how many pints it would take to put him under the table. Sometimes. We were kin of a sort. All of us had gone through the joining, so we knew... Well, anyhow, it doesn't have to be deadly serious all the time. Anyhow, we never did find out. He said he'd drink a pint for every half pint that the rest of us drank. He was still going by the time the rest of us were passed out. I'm told that Duncan walked in later on and saw us all passed out from one end of the hall to the other, and Gregor still drinking. Duncan laughed until he nearly... Until... Yes, I suppose so. I thought I was done with this, but it just struck me that I have nothing to remember Duncan by. Nothing at all. There's no body, not even a token of his that I could take with me. That must sound really stupid to you. I just would have liked something of his to take with me, that's all. Well, there's no use in moaning about it, is there? He's gone. Let's just go. I'm wondering something. I'd like to know your thoughts about some of our traveling companions. Do you mind if I ask? Zevran, the elf. You can't trust him, can you? Do you believe his so-called vow? Then why bring him along? Don't you think he might try to kill you again? Maybe he's just biding his time. Well, at least you're considering the possibility. He just seems shifty to me. What about Sten? The way he looks at me with those eyes. Creepy. And he's so quiet for someone so big. The more I talk to him, the more reasonable he does seem. His philosophy is so strange. But it doesn't sound at all as vile as the Chantry describes it. And yet, he killed all those people. He doesn't even deny it. Doesn't that bother you? I'm not so sure that his regret means the same as it would for us. The Kunari sense of honor is a bit hard to grasp. For me, anyway. What about Liliana? Is she crazy? Or do you really believe in her vision? Maybe you're right. It's not as if she could have known that we needed help so desperately after all. Yet, there she was. I don't know what to make of her. If you look at her when she doesn't see you, she just looks so sad. I almost feel guilty taking her away from her life. Yes, I know. Still, I feel badly for her. Morrigan. Do you trust her? Think about it. Maybe Flemeth sent her with us for some other reason than she said. Well, aside from the fact that she's a complete and utter bitch, no, I don't like her at all. Why, do you? Sure. Beautiful, just like something that's also dangerous, like a beautiful, dangerous thing. Yes, one of those, but more evil. Just tell me one thing. Is it true what the others say? Do you have a thing going with Morrigan? Tell me it's not true. You think we have better things to do all day than talk about you? Come on, tell me it's not true. Oh, someone's a little touchy, eh? Attacking my manhood and everything. That must mean it's true. Well, fine. It's your funeral. Enough. I think my curiosity is sated. Let's get back to it, shall we? Something on your mind? Of course.
Something I can help with? Yes? What's on your mind? My mother was from Denerim, and I consider myself a Ferelden. Mother served an Orlesian noblewoman who lived here when Orlais ruled. When Orlais was defeated, and the common folk began to resent the presence of any Orlesian, the lady returned to Orlais. She took my mother with her. I was born in Orlais, and did not set foot in Ferelden till much later. Mother was always telling me stories of her homeland. I think she missed it. She had served Cecily, the Lady Cecily, for many years, and was loyal to her. Cecily was a good person. She was always kind to me. Mother died when I was very young. Lady Cecily let me stay with her. I had no one else. She was quite old then, and she had me study music and dance to entertain her. It is unfair that I have more memories of Cecily than my mother. Strangely, the only thing I really remember of Mother was her scent. She kept dried flowers in her closet amongst her clothes. Small white Ferelden wildflowers with a sweet fragrance. Mother called them Andraste's Grace. They were very rare in Orlais. But enough about that. Let us move on. Something I can help with? Yes? What's on your mind? I miss Val Royeaux. Unlike other cities where the people are the lifeblood and the character, Val Royeaux was her own person, and her people little more than decorations. There was always music in Val Royeaux, streaming from the many windows, quiet refrains and triumphant choruses, and always, floating above that all, the chant, coming from the Grand Cathedral. It was magnificent. Oh, it would take me a day or two to talk about the many splendors of Orlais, her golden fields, her lush meadows. Of course there are good things and bad things about Orlais, like anywhere else. Sometimes I miss it dearly, and sometimes I'm glad I'm rid of it. And you will laugh at this, but I miss the fine things I had in Orlais. Dresses, fine dresses and furs. And shoes, of course. One can't mingle with nobility with bad shoes, you see. Orlais is very fashionable. Almost ridiculously so. But the shoes... Living with those ridiculous trends was worth it for the shoes. Well, they're shoes. They're pretty. Some of them anyway. When I left Orlais, the fashion was shoes with delicate tapered heels and embellishments in the front. A ribbon, perhaps, or embroidery. In soft colors, of course. It was spring. Never mind. I just have a weakness for pretty shoes. It is so frivolous of me, I know. Oh, I could talk about shoes all day, but we have things to do, don't we? Something I can help with? Yes? What's on your mind? Where did you hear this? Not all minstrels are spies. Most are just singers and storytellers, but some of them are what we call bards. Many use the two words minstrel and bard interchangeably, but to do so in Orlais would cause misunderstanding. Bards are minstrels and more. Spies, as you say. Some say there is a bard order, but I don't think this is true. Many bards work alone or in small groups, doing the bidding of a patron who pays for their services. If there is an organization behind it all, no one knows who they are. Nobles mostly. In Orlais, there is much rivalry amongst the highborn. They fight over land, influence, and the favor of the Empress. But they cannot do this openly because it is impolite, and in public, they wear smiling faces and pretend to be civil. In secret, they plot and scheme to destroy each other. It is a game completely meaningless to anyone but its players. I have revealed too much, it seems. But it doesn't matter what I used to be. It is the past. I found myself in Ferelden, and sheltered from bad weather in the Chantry. And when the storm passed, I just did not want to leave. I like to see the Maker brought me here. Something I can help with? I don't think you have the correct aptitude. I could give you some pointers, though. You may be able to pass them on to someone you know. Let's just go over there, away from the others. For safety, yes? I expect there shall be daggers flying about willy-nilly for a time. Something I can help with? Yes? What's on your mind? Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think. Which one? When Andraste began her exalted march against the Imperium, the elves joined her cause to fight their masters. The great elven leader, Shatan, born in captivity, rose up to lead his people. He foresaw a future where the elves were free. Shatan was killed when Andraste was betrayed, but the elves continued to fight, eventually breaking free of the Imperium. The elves claimed the Dales in the south, and settled there in a land of their own. The elves lived in the Dales for centuries. They resurrected the worship of the elven gods and would allow the building of no... This angered the Chantry. The Chantry declared a holy exalted march against the elves. During the exalted march of the Dales, the elven cities were sacked, and the elven state completely dissolved. Some of the elves bitterly accepted their fates, and surrendered to human rule, living in the human cities as second-class citizens. But others, still fiercely proud of their heritage, refused to bow to the humans, and instead became homeless wanderers. They were the elves of the Dales, the Dalish.
Yes. Sitting, as you observed. It's what you asked. I did. Parshera. Was there anything else? Speak, then. Then I suggest we move on. I am hardly surprised. To answer a question. Were you not at Ostagar when the army was overwhelmed? That is your answer. Parshera, was it?
Oh, it's been a long day. Rest would be welcome. Yes, of course. I am just a little weary. As you may have noticed, I'm no spring chicken. Thank you. You're very kind to say so. But in all honesty, I do not know how many years I have left in me. I have lived for such a long time, but there is always something else to do. And I have to keep going in order to do it. I think I will be glad when I am done. Oh, I don't know. I really don't. Have you encountered many abominations, apart from the ones in the Circle Tower? The first time I saw an abomination, my blood turned to ice. It was months before the nightmares stopped. It was the knowledge that I could easily become one of them that frightened me the most. One slip. All it takes is one slip, and everything you are is simply gone, replaced by madness. And there is no turning back, or at least that's what they say. Of late, I have begun to wonder if there is any way an abomination can be cured, or if a mage could be so possessed and still retain their sanity, their humanity. Yes, it is madness and cruelty that define abominations. If those are lacking, if the mage remembers the person they truly are, then they are not an abomination. I never saw that. Thank you for showing me another way of looking at it. Irving told me about how you became a Grey Warden, and that unpleasant incident that occurred prior to your departure from the Circle. None other. I respect the decision you made, and the way you handled it. And it did not seem to affect Duncan's desire to recruit you. But that aside, you're a Grey Warden now, and perhaps I presume too much by saying this, but the Circle is proud of you. Do not squander this time trying to explain why Irving picked you. Accept it, and be the Grey Warden you're supposed to be. Sometimes it gives me comfort to think that everything will end up the way it's supposed to. That it will be all right. You were chosen. You survived the joining when others did not. Perhaps it was meant to be. I must ask, what does being a Grey Warden mean to you? There's that, of course. But there's more to being a Grey Warden than killing Darkspawn and saving the world from the Blight. Ultimately, being a Grey Warden is about serving others. About serving all people, whether elves or dwarves or men. As a Grey Warden, you are a guardian of men. And you guard them because their continued existence is more important than you are. Thus it is you who serves, not they. A good king, a true king who cares for his land, uses his power to rule firmly but fairly. He serves his people first and foremost. The king who does not do this, who believes that he is entitled to his power, who abuses it and uses it for his own means, is a tyrant. And the country suffers for it. If you live apart from others, and your actions affect only you, then you may do as you wish. But if you have power, influence, and strength, your every action will be as a drop of water in a clear, still pond. The drop causes ripples, and ripples spread. Think of how far they will go, how wide they will become, how will they affect the pond. But I've lectured enough for today. I should stop before I wear out my welcome. Is there something you need? The Circle is in good hands. Irving knows what to do, and he doesn't need me underfoot. For now, I will support those that battle the Darkspawn. I do feel I left things unfinished in Ostagar. There is so much left to do, and I would be part of it. Yes, I did leave them. But if the blight is not stopped, all of them will face suffering greater than what was seen in the tower. The Grey Wardens, all 2 of you, need all the help you can get. I will see this through to the bitter end, and after that, if I am still left standing, then I will return to the Circle. Perhaps. Is there something you need? I will answer to the best of my ability. People don't become mages. They are born mages. The talent just surfaces later. But you are asking how I ended up at the Circle. I was brought there by the Templars, just like many of the other apprentices. I don't remember very much. I was very young then. I didn't have a family. I never knew my real parents. My earliest memory was of hiding in a hayloft on a farm, trying to keep warm. I was found, and the farmer's wife was kind enough not to send me away. But they had children of their own, and I was never made to feel welcome. The eldest son was the worst. He was always calling me a stray, and throwing anything he could get his hands on at me. And I don't know how it happened, but one day, he just found his hair on fire. Fortunately, there was a large trough nearby. He ran screaming, dripping head and all, to his mother. I was shut up in the barn, with a bowl of water and a crust of hard bread. The Templars arrived several mornings later. I'll never forget the moment the Templars led me into the entrance hall of the tower. I had never seen anything so grand in my life. I stopped being afraid then. I knew I was home. We were the lucky ones. I learned very quickly that for every apprentice in the tower, there was probably one who never even lived to see the Templars come. No child, not even a mage child, is a match for an angry mob trying to place blame for a failed crop, a hard winter, a baby born dead. Superstition and fear is what makes these people behave in this manner. It will be a good long time before that changes. Well, that's about all there is to my tale. That's how I came to the Circle. It has been almost a year, hasn't it? Do you miss the tower at all? You can take a mage out of the Circle, but you can't take the Circle out of the mage. Or so Irving used to say. He was joking, but there is some truth to the statement. A mage never really leaves the Circle, and for the rest of your life you will be seen as a Circle mage. But you will always be a mage, especially in the eyes of others. You represent both mages and Grey Wardens, and your actions may reflect well or badly on both groups. Remember that. Oh, but listen to me go on. You start a conversation, and I just run away with it, don't I? I've been mentoring apprentices for so long, it's become something I do unconsciously. I don't know if I could stop even if I wanted to. Is there something you need? I will answer to the best of my ability.
Here I am. Oh, this should be good. What would you like to discuss? Here I am. Oh, this should be good. Go ahead.
A ver, ¿qué hace falta para convertirse en asesino?
Well, the crows would have you believe that it is an involved process that takes years of training. The sort that tests both your resolve and your endurance. Survive that process and maybe, just maybe, you're good enough to start being considered one of them. But quite frankly, the truth is that all it requires is a desire to kill people for a living. It's surprising how well one can do in such a field.
Así que hace falta ser un homicida.
Now, it need not be thought of so crudely. We all do our share of murdering around here, don't we? An assassin simply specializes in striking from stealth, and in maximizing that first attack to be as lethal as possible. Debilitate your foe, either by poison or by crippling their limbs, makes any follow-up combat you need to engage in that much simpler.
Según lo cuentas, podría ser útil.
See? Getting paid for the act is beside the point. An assassin is more a tactical choice than a lifestyle. Of course, the crows like to pretend that their abilities are trade secrets, shrouded in shadows and wrapped in a blanket of mystery. So let's just keep this between you and me, shall we?
¿Cómo que no está de acuerdo?
Here I am.
¿Puedes enseñar a los demás a ser
Oh, I
asesinos?
certainly could, but I won't. I swore to the crows that the things they taught me were to remain a secret. And while, yes, they are already angry at me, I'd rather not push things, you see.
¿No crees que esto sea importante?
You need to learn the arts of the crows in order to slay Darkspawn, do you? You seem to be doing fine as it is. If you are truly insistent, well, let me think about it. The crows are already angry at me, yes? Who knows? Here I am.
¿Te importaría responder algunas
Oh,
preguntas?
this should be good. Go ahead.
¿Por qué querías abandonar los cuervos
Well,
exactamente?
I imagine that's a very fair question. Being an assassin, after all, is a living, at least as far as such things go. I was simply never given the opportunity to choose another way. So, if that choice presents itself, why should I not seize upon it?
Entonces, ¿es solo que estás aburrido?
I don't know that I would put it precisely that way. I was but a boy of 7 when I was purchased. For 3 sovereigns, I'm told. Which is a good price, considering I was all ribs and bone and didn't know the pommel of a dagger from the pointy end. The crows buy all their assassins that way. Buy them young, raise them to know nothing else but murder. And if you do poorly in your training, you die.
Eso suena fatal.
Oh, I don't know about that. The crows who are actually good enough to survive come to enjoy some of the benefits. In Antiva, being a crow gets you respect. It gets you wealth. It gets you women. And men. Or whatever it is you might fancy. But that does not mean doing what is expected of you always. And it means being expendable. It's a cage, if a gilded cage. Pretty, but confining.
¿Y qué es lo que te gusta a ti exactamente?
I fancy many things. I fancy things that are beautiful, and things that are strong. I fancy things that are dangerous and exciting. Would you be offended if I said I fancied you?
No, pero no hace falta que te molestes.
Ah, that's too bad. I do so enjoy it when I get to be flirty. As for what I'll do in the future, presuming that there is one, I truly can't imagine. It might be interesting to go into business for myself, for a change. Far away from Antiva, of course. For now, naturally, I go where you go.
¿Y cuando te surja la primera oportunidad de traicionarme?
And be slaughtered? Perish the thought. Come now, enough chit-chat. Talking about the crows summons them, you know. Any Antivan fishwife could tell you so.
Joder, no se puede llevar uno bien con este, tío. Tampoco es que me quiera llevar bien con él, pero joder.
Oh, this should be good. Go ahead.
Cuéntame algo acerca de Antigua.
Oh, you wish to know about Antiva, do you? The only way to truly appreciate it would be to go there. It is a warm place, not cold and harsh like this Ferelden. In Antiva it rains often, but the flowers are always in bloom. Or so the saying goes.
¿No quieres regresar?
It's not really a matter of wanting to go back. I cannot go. At least not yet. I hail from the glorious Antiva city, home to the royal palace. It is a glittering gem amidst the sand, my Antiva city. Do you come from someplace comparable?
Yo no procedo de ninguna gema brillante, ¿no?
No? That is too bad. If you were, then surely you would spend as much time boasting about it as I do. You know what is most odd? We speak of my homeland, and for all its wine and its dark-haired beauties and the lilo flutes of the minstrels, I miss the leather the most.
¿Es una especie de eufemismo?
It may as well be. But not this once, no. I mean the smell. For years, I lived in a tiny apartment near Antiva City's leather-making district, in a building where the crows stored their youngest recruits, packed in like crates. I grew accustomed to the stench, even though the humans complained of it constantly. To this day, the smell of fresh leather is what reminds me most of home more than anything else.
Lo dices como si llevaras toda la vida fuera de casa.
Oh, not so long, I know. It is my first time away from Antiva, however, and the thought of never returning makes me think of it constantly. Before I left, I was tempted to spend what little coin I possessed on leather boots I spotted in the store window. Finest Antivan leather. Perfect craftsmanship. Ah, but I was a fool to leave them. I thought, Zevran, you can buy them when you return as a reward for a job well done. More the fool I, no?
Tu hogar sigue allí, Zebran.
True, and it's a comforting thought. One simply never knows what is to come next. How could I have suspected I would end up defeated by a handsome Grey Warden? A man who then spares my life? I could not.
Apuesto. Está intentando todo el rato ligar, ¿eh? Todos cometemos errores.
Even Grey Wardens who spared the lives of assassins? Understood. Now, if it is all the same to you, I would prefer not to speak more of Antiva. It makes me wistful and hungry for a proper meal. Here I am.
A ver...
Oh, this should be good. Go ahead.
¿Qué opinas de los Dailesians?
I know little enough of the Dalish other than the fact that my mother was one, or so I was told. She had fallen in love with an elven woodcutter and accompanied him back to the city, leaving her clan behind for good. And there, of course, the woodcutter died of some filthy disease and my mother was forced into prostitution to pay off his debts. Oldest tale in the book.
Zebran, eso es horrible.
It seemed normal enough a tale growing up. No different than the other elven boys in the horrors. I didn't know my mother either, of course. She died giving birth to me. My first victim, as it were. We were all raised communally by the whores. It was a happy enough existence, ignoring the occasional beating. Until eventually I was sold to the crows. I brought a good price, so I hear.
Lo siento por ti, Zebran.
That's very kind of you to say, but it is not necessary. It could have been much worse. Shall I tell you about what happened to the other whorehouse boys who did not fetch a decent price with the crows? Surely your life has not been so idyllic. People like you and I are not the product of happy lives of contentment, after all.
Y tanto.
My original
sí.
point is that my mother's Dalish nature was always a point of fascination for me. Through all the years of my crow training, the one thing of my mother's that I possessed was a pair of gloves. They were of Dalish make, I knew that much, and beautiful. I had to keep them hidden, of course, as we were not allowed such things. Eventually, they were discovered, and I never saw them again.
Pero ¿qué opinas de las elecciones en
I don't
general?
feel anything about them. Oh, we heard about them in the city. Even deep in Antiva. I even had the notion once to run off and join them. Naturally, the reality did not live up at all to the fantasies I had constructed as a boy, staring at those gloves. But such is life. Come, enough talk of the Dalish. Let us move on.
¿Eh?
Here I am.
A ver,
This should be good. Go ahead.
¿de verdad disfrutas siendo un asesino?
And why not? There are many things to enjoy about being a crow in Antiva. You are respected, you are feared, the authorities go out of their way to overlook your trespasses, even the rewards are nothing to turn your nose up at. As for the killing part, well, some people simply need assassinating. Or do you disagree?
Nunca has matado a ningún inocente.
Now there's an interesting word, innocent. How many men do you know who can claim to be truly innocent? But if you're talking generalities, such as children and relatives and bystanders and such, never on purpose. But it happens. It's unfortunate, but death comes to us all. If not me, then some wasting disease, or a fall down the stairs,
Pero fuiste tú, hijo de
at the
puta.
hands of a darkspawn. It's all relative in the end.
Eso es una excusa.
Death happens, as we like to say, and when I get paid for it, death happens more often. As far as enjoying the act of killing itself, why not? There is a certain artistry to the deed, the pleasure of sinking your blade into their flesh and knowing that their life is in your hands.
Matar no me supone ningún
It is
placer.
not pleasure, per se, nothing sexual. It is more a sense of satisfaction, a feeling of power. Does that make sense? No matter. There are many things I did not enjoy about being a crow, of course. Having no choice, being treated as an expendable commodity, the rules, oh, so many rules. But simply being an assassin, I like it just fine. I will continue to do it if I can, even if I am not a crow. Honestly, could you picture me doing something else?
¿Por qué no? Puedes hacer todo lo que
Whereas
quieras.
I am content merely doing what I happen to be good at. It's a talent that not many come by honestly. I don't see why I need not pursue it. Of course, all these thoughts are moot. Chances are still good that you and I will perish, eaten by darkspawn or slain by the crows at some point. Very gruesomely, I imagine. But it is pleasant enough to chat about. Come, let's move on while our boots still have some wear in them.
Ya nos llevamos bastante mal con Zebran. Y ahora vamos a irnos a algún lado. Voy a guardar por si acaso, que nunca está más, y nos vamos a ir, pues a ver a dónde.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes.
Lothering. Ya la han arrasado. O esto ya estaba antes. Vamos a ir a la choza de Flemeth a matar a Flemeth. Vamos a ir a Puerto Rojo. A la ciudad de Ostigar, esa, la de los enanos. Paso de Zucker. Esto no sé qué significa. Vamos a Pico del Soldado, que es donde estaba la antigua guarida de los guardias.
And here we are, Soldier's Peak. Maker's breath. Look at the size of her. What a fortress. I told you the map would get us through the tunnels.
Admítelo, te has perdido un par de veces.
I wasn't lost, it's just that the map got soggy. Bah, we're here. So, I'll follow you about, from a distance. This place has the stench of death. I expect there's trouble up ahead.
Soldier's Peak. Looks like it's seen better days. Better centuries, more like.
Siguiente.
Once the wardens flourished, their ranks full, their caliber certain. Now they even accept people like you, Alistair.
Hey.
Be cautious.
A ver, vamos a ver si le podemos poner armadura. Es que la de Kaylan no la quiero poner, pero bueno. Es que la armadura de Kaylan no se la quiero poner. Prefiero ponerle esta, por ejemplo. Pero hasta que no sube de nivel, nada. Al menos tiene que subir un par de veces para subirle la fuerza a tope. Vamos a ver qué nos aguarda aquí. Pico Soldado.
Fall back! Fall back already!
Taking the peak will not be easy, my lord.
I gave the Wardens one chance to die with honor. Instead, they hole up like cowards. We follow the King's advice, then. Starve them out.
But the peak has months of supplies.
Then we wait. When they are too weak to lift their weapons, we will send them to their final judgment.
What was that? Felt a bit woozy there. I'm not mad, am I? You saw it too?
Yo también he tenido una visión.
How is that possible? This place truly is haunted.
El velo es muy tenue aquí, es como lo que ocurría en la torre del círculo.
Raphael?
Es lo que separa del mundo de los demonios.
Demons? Thank Andraste you came, Warden. After you.
Se va a morir fijo. Ejército de Arland. Uf, están duros, ¿eh? Ay, mierda, era activo esto, claro. Ah, estos no son nada. ¿Dónde están? Ah, por aquí. Uf, me ha dado hostia, Vale, ¿quién nos ataca? Ah, por allí. A ver. Tómate una de estas. Dale a estos. Hostia, me han matado a Sten, ¿eh? Y este me va a matar a mí, hijo de puta. Ah, es que no quiero ponerme ningún escudo ni nada. A ver cómo es esto. ¡Oh, enjambre! Joder. Mierda, me han matado. ¡Ey! ¿El enjambre por qué se ha disipado? Puta. Tengo que empezar a crear pociones de lirio. A ver... Alistair lo está haciendo bastante bien, así que... Venga, Alistair. Ah, tal por culo.
You have won the battle. A close thing.
Uff. Me he descuidado muchísimo, ¿eh? Podía haberlo manejado fácilmente, pero... Aceite ígneo. Aceite ácido. Ahora aceite para masajes. Tu bola. No se puede entrar en ninguna casa de estas de por aquí, no, no. No. Molaría mucho que se pudiera interactuar con el entorno. Vamos dentro, ¿no? A ver qué se cuece ahí dentro.
The men's morale is low. My spells are of no use in this matter, Commander.
There is more to leading men than sorcery, Avernus. I will remind them that they're wardens. Men! I won't lie to you. The situation is grim. Our forces outnumbered, our bellies empty, and our hearts are sagging. But we are wardens! Darkspawn flee when they hear our horns. Archdemons die when they taste our blades. So are we to bend knee to a mere human despot? No! I, for one, will never give up! I, for one, will never surrender just to dance on Arlen's gallows. So I propose here and now, in these hallowed halls where generations of our brethren stood vigil against darkspawn and evil, that we send a message to that fat bastard. In this sacred place, proud men, strong men stood defiant, and would rather die than submit to tyranny.
So brave, even when starving, and my great-great-grandmother stood with them.
Parece que corre por tus venas una sangre muy noble.
Oh, well, that's kind of you to say. Generations of Dryadens have said that our stock were lions. Fierce, proud, and noble. But I've gabbed enough. Lead on, my friend.
Vale, vamos. Horror arcano. Horror arcano. Vale, todo por culo. Vale. Vale. No podemos ir al frente. Así que primero vamos a ir a esta sala. Poción de lirio. Muy útil. Es inmune el hijo de puta. Y yo estoy muy débil. Ah. Vale. Sí, Alistar ha subido de nivel. Fuerza a tope y armadura de Keylan. A ver si llega. Asalto. ¿Puedo usar la armadura? Dime que sí. No. Te necesita 36 de fuerza. Pero bueno, el escudo sí que lo puedo utilizar. Mola. Un huevo. Vale, siguiente puerta. Comedor. Me esperaba que me saliera algo por aquí, ¿no? Runa de robustez. Y por aquí no podemos subir, ¿no? Aquí en este juego no se pueden subir escaleras. Por aquí no hay. Que sí que me salen, ¿no? Sí. Demonio, archivista y demonio. Vamos a este. Morrigan. Aquí adelante. Vas a atacar a este y le vas a hacer un Frozen. Con canción y todo. ¿Y tú? ¿De dónde sales? Venga, siguientes. Venga, güey. Vale. No hay más que recoger por aquí. Piso de arriba. ¿Cuántos pisos tendrá esto? ¿Y a dónde nos llevará? Si no salen por aquí... Mal vamos. ¡Ostras!
Contraste's blood? What?
More of Ernest! Whatever it takes! Press them! Press them now!
También quiero hacer eso.
No!
you fight the king's men!
Fool! So much death, suffering, and oh yes, blood. The veil is torn now. Your soul is mine, Avernus.
Acolytes, retreat now. The battle is lost.
Avernus!
What just happened? Oh no, more fighting.
Demonio de la cólera. Y el demonio de la cólera. Le están curando, hijos de puta. Maldición de vulnerabilidad a este. Oh, le vuelven a curar. No, el demonio de la cólera no. Más lejos. Ahí. Cago en la puta. Están curando. ¿Están muertos los otros? Parece que sí. Uff, mío. No, te he dicho que te tomaras la puta poción.
The wardens summoned demons. Can't believe it. And my grandmother, she knew.
Los guardias no prohíben el uso de magia de sangre, todo es válido para alcanzar la victoria.
I believed that my family was better than that, but answers may lay up ahead.
Ah, que todavía nos estamos quemando, vale. Ya decía yo. Bálsamo de calor. Demonio de la cólera. Hálito invernal de hueso de dragón. A 2 manos. Ah, 36 de magia. Requisito ser mago. Muy bien. ¿Es un báculo? Ah, no lo puedo equipar aún. Cago. Al siguiente nivel me subo la magia. ¿Y por qué no tengo equipado el escudo? ¿Qué ha pasado? No, en serio, ¿qué ha pasado con mis estadísticas? ¿Por qué tengo un menos bufo? Ah, por esto será. ¿Ya está? ¿Puedo ponerme el escudo? Sí, era por eso. No, esto sí que sí puedo ponerme. No, tengo 36 de magia. Joder, se mata un huevo. Tendría que haber más mierdas por aquí. No hay ni un cofre. Va, veámonos. Caer renqueante, esqueleto renqueante. Puede que funcione. Ah, no sabía que había esta vista. Prefiero esta, la verdad. Vale. Salida. Aquí hay otra puerta. ¿Sofía?
Step no further, Warden. This one would speak with you.
¿Quién o qué
This one
eres?
is the Dryden, Commander, Sophia. All these things.
Grandmother?
You have slain many of the demon ilk to get here. This one would propose a deal.
Levi, me temo que tu tatarabuela está poseída.
That, or she's really let herself go. My great-great-grandmother is dead. I don't know what that is.
Háblame del
The
trato.
Kyun is quite clear in matters of demons. Destroy them quickly, efficiently. Enough talk.
Deal with me now, warrior, and you will thwart many of my kind. This one will explain. The Soldier's Peak traps me. This one sees so many tantalizing places in the Dryden's memories. This one would see the world herself. For me to be free, into the Old Mage Tower you go and destroy. In return, this one seals the veil. No more demons. No more enemies. Your peak would be safe. Just let this one go into the world.
¿Y qué eres exactamente si te libero?
This one will roam. This one will see. This one will feed. But without me, the veil will grow weaker. More demons, more misery. You choose just one of my kind, or many.
Estoy aquí en nombre de Levi. Háblame de Sofía Trina.
This one knows all, but will only talk after the tower lies broken.
Antes de hacer un trato, convénceme, ¿qué sacaré yo de este asunto? Repara el velo y...
Your kind likes gold, yes? This one knows of all hidden places. If you help, this knowledge is yours.
Dile a Levi todo lo que
You
sabes de
get your
Sofía.
gold and nothing else, whelp of the Wardens. The levy gets no questions, no answers.
I wouldn't have you deal with her or it on my account.
You only must destroy. For your purpose, there is nothing more you need.
En tal caso, marcha a destruir la torre.
Nothing must live. Gnash stone with teeth if you can. This one is waiting, Warden! Break the tower!
Howin. Este sí. Me lo llevo. Me gustaría matarla. matarlo o lo que sea.
I'm off.